I'm great. Is your lipstick black or is it
Thank you
like
for
green?
actually neither. Thank you for asking. It's my favorite one. It's like this velvety navy, deep, deep navy color. It's so pretty. And like when you see the color and it goes on dry, but not doesn't crack. It's wild. I was literally just thinking today, I bought it for like $2 on a throwout rack and it's become my favorite. I don't know if you can see close up.
Oh
Can
yes.
you see the
Yeah.
navy?
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
Isn't it pretty? Oh,
Yeah. It looks so good with the color of your hair and
thank
like
you.
your top. Like it's just you're on point. You are
Oh,
fabulous.
thank
Yes.
that this top color with the navy lip is one of my favorite color combos. Thank you for noticing.
You're welcome. You're welcome. How do you not notice? It just looks so good. And it
I'm
does though.
just
It does.
so fucking relieved that because I literally made the choice. I was looking at myself and I didn't have time for a shower. And my curling iron, as I was going to put a few waves in my hair, which was very flat bed hair, it just popped off. The little hand thing popped off. And so I was just left with this steaming hot rod. And I like quickly did a few waves at the front just so it didn't look like I just drowned in a swamp because that's what I was serving. And I looked at myself in the mirror, I was like, fuck, I still look a bit washed out. So with like I was a minute late, let's be real. I was a minute late to log
She
on.
was. She was everyone. She
Sorry.
was a whole minute late. I was like, wow.
You're like this a bitch. Yeah.
This
And yeah, it
oh
was
well.
literally because I was like, if I rush dark navy blue
Yeah.
liquid lip to put it on, I will be wearing it on my eyebrows. And fortunately, that didn't happen. What's on your
No.
sweater? Sorry, you keep leaning back, and I see like a flash of something.
Ugh. So it's Nirvana.
I love it. This is my favorite thing you own.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's an extra large shirt. And so like I freaking just wear it whenever
I love
it's my
it.
new favorite. Yeah, it's my new favorite.
You know what's funny?
So
When we probably like hang out in person, like I always dress up for the pod, but I literally just dress like a scruffy boy when I'm at home by myself.
same. Oh,
Oh
wait a minute.
yeah.
I am right now. I am currently dressed like that.
No,
But yeah,
you're like
yeah.
the hot girlfriend in the boyfriend's shirt. It's not giving scruffy girl. It's very cute, that shirt. I want to
Okay.
steal that one.
Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. This was, I think, at Walmart for $6.97. So
Oh,
if
well,
you're
fuck
ever in
you
town,
because I don't have Walmart, bitch.
or maybe I'll have to try and go to my local Walmart and get you a
Yes.
Nirvana shirt. I'll have to see if there's something there. I'm sure I
Yeah.
can find a plethora of shirts actually at Walmart for you.
Well, yeah, get on your little bike and get me a shirt for $5.
On my bike? What do you mean?
I don't know. That's an expression? Get on your bike.
Oh,
No, it's
okay.
probably just in Australia.
Yeah, because we're not real. I mean, there's places where you bike, but
Yeah.
generally, Americans, we're driving. Things are far from each other,
It's a bit
unless
of a
you're in the city.
meme. A bit of a meme how
Ah,
everything in America you drive to and how
yeah.
big the shops are. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna like ream you just for a second, which sounds way more dodgy than I mean. Because as I was logging in to send you the link,
Okay. What
speaking of
happened?
America, I
Yes.
observed your a post popped up, and honestly, I thought it was an ad or spam, if you will. Something
Uh-huh.
called Coffee Mate in a very
Yes.
questionable looking bottle. As an Australian who doesn't have Coffee Mate that I know of, can you talk to me about what's in that bottle?
Sure. Yes. I sure can. And the short answer is I have no idea. I don't know what's in that. I don't know.
Did you like, okay, I just want
Yeah.
to understand. Did you get that bottle, squeeze it into your cup, microwave
No.
it, and drink it? What do you do with the bottle?
Melanie.
What?
Melanie.
It,
No.
it's
Melanie.
powder?
No, Melanie. Okay, there are some Coffee Mate powder editions, sure.
Oh, it's an
No,
addition.
this, well, let me tell the readers this what Melanie's talking about is a special edition pumpkin spice what was it?
Coffee
Coffee
Mate.
Mate. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Coffee Mate is basically just like it's just like it's just creamer that you pour into your coffee, you stir it in. It's supposed to mimic creamer, like cream, if you will, but
Actual
it's got a
cream.
lot of things in there that we don't want to talk about.
Oh, it's
Um,
mystery
it's
powder.
yeah, yeah. So it's mystery ingredients. But and I don't normally ever get Coffee Mate, to be honest. Normally I'll just do black coffee.
Oh, true. I
Um,
didn't know that about
mhm.
you.
I do. Yeah, normally I'm a black coffee girl
No sugar or
or
sugar?
no sugar.
Yeah. Oh, I
I'm
suddenly
either
got a lot of respect for you because
oh
I
oh
I haven't drunk coffee with sugar since college.
yeah.
The gateway into coffee. So maybe
Yeah,
a
yeah,
little bit I
totally.
judge people who put sugar in their coffee, but I would never
Oh,
say that
good.
unless you
Good.
just admitted you don't. I'm
I do
impressed.
not. I do not. I love a good just like solid black coffee.
Mm,
But
mm,
again, like I said, we're in September now, and September is pumpkin spice
gotcha.
season. Okay? We do all
Okay.
things pumpkin spice. Some people
Yeah.
might listen to this and get mad, and they might argue it's not time yet, or they might say we hate pumpkin spice. But
No.
I'm just gonna say they're haters. I am sorry, everyone. Haters gonna hate. It's pumpkin spice season. Basic bitches unite. We add pumpkin spice to our coffee mate into our coffee.
I'm ready for your fall photo shoot with Smokey in like a little pumpkin outfit.
It's coming. It is coming. Yes, it is way too hot for it to feel
Mm.
anything autumnal. I don't know how to say it.
Autumn. Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah.
Autumnal.
I've never said that word in my life. Now that I
Mm.
think about it,
I don't
not
think
one
you.
day.
I don't think you said it today either.
Yeah.
You gotta put
Autumnal?
aut
Whatever. It's fall.
autumn with "al" on the end. Autumnal, right?
Whatever the fuck. It's that. It's not that. It's whatever. It's hot.
Huh?
Whatever. But still, I've got the
Do you
lights
guys
behind
even
me.
say fucking autumn? Just say
No.
fall. Just use your
Well,
damn word that you
I
know.
was, I know, but I was trying to be, hip. I was trying to be like, we
I don't think
understand each
that's
other.
hip. That's like Shakespearean. Oh, she looked out upon a trove of trees in an autumnal breeze as the leaves fell in a dappled light.
Ooh, that was good.
No, it
Wait,
wasn't good. It
it
wasn't
was
good.
good. It was good. It was. Do you guys say you don't say autumn? I thought you guys
You
said
say
autumn.
autumn, but you don't. So why
I
not let
know.
yourself off the hook?
Because I was trying to, like relate to you, and it backfired.
it it didn't hit.
It didn't.
I don't think it related to anyone, my hen. No, nobody understood that. Maybe aliens on Mars or something.
They're gonna be like, yes, we know that season,
Yeah,
and it is pumpkin spice season.
because they also read it in a textbook, and so your pronunciation sounds fine to them.
All right, it's fall, bitches. It's fall, bitches.
Yes, just enjoy your pumpkin. Okay, so you add the powder into your coffee and it
No,
becomes
no,
creamy.
Melanie, it's not a
Okay, what?
powder. It's not a
Oh,
powder.
it's
It's a
liquid.
liquid.
Good
It's
Lord. Of
liquid.
course it is.
It's
So what?
liquid.
It comes off the shelf like that? Like
Not
long
the
life
shelf. It's in a fridge.
in the fridge?
In the
I
fridge.
don't know if I'm more or less disturbed by the fact it's in the fridge and it's not long life. So it has like a quick
It
expiry.
has it has an expiration date. It
How
does.
fast does it expire if it's in the fridge?
I've never looked.
Because
I
usually,
think
usually refrigerated goods, if you buy milk, right, it's gonna go off. Well, they say longer, but it's always off by the end of the week. Let's be real.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
is it like
so
that?
we'll push it a little further than
Yeah.
a week. We'll give it perhaps 6 months.
Because
No, I'm
it's
just
not
kidding.
milk. It's not milk. It's not, is
It's
it
not milk.
dairy free, isn't it?
It's dairy free. I believe it's dairy free.
Good Lord. Now who knows what's in it? Dairy
We don't
free,
want to know.
dairy free refrigerated pumpkin creamer. I want to know at some point, possibly not now. Right
Once the
now,
season is over, I'll take a picture and send it to you. But right now, I'm going to be
you
happily
enjoy.
oblivious. Yes.
100%. And you've got to do that. Like I take the piss a lot, but let's be real. Like I had Domino's yesterday and I didn't question the little bacon bits and the whatever was on it. You just got
Yeah,
to
you rebel.
you
You
enjoy
rebel.
enjoy
Yeah.
your pumpkin spice creamer. And I
Good.
want, before I get too distracted and forget about it, I do not want to forget this episode to celebrate the fact that Sinner's Isle came out in Spanish last
Yes,
week.
it
Last
did.
week? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Huh?
was. Hey,
Woo! Can we talk
hey.
about that? Do you have a copy? Will you get a copy?
No, I believe I get a few copies.
Ah,
So I'm like, I keep checking. I don't
yeah.
know. It's interesting when it's, at least in my like small knowledge of how it all works, but like foreign publishers, I mean, they'll pay you and then that's pretty much all you hear from them, unless they're asking about like cover advice, like if you approve the cover.
Mm.
Um, but this is the first version of Sinner's Isle that has been translated. So I don't know how it will go from here on out, because it's also going to be translated into Italian, which is really fun.
Yeah.
So we'll see how the Italian version goes as well, if they switch the cover or
Ooh.
how it works. I have no idea. But yeah, it
Ah.
came out and the excitement too from like Spanish speaking readers was so amazing, and they love the cover, so
Oh,
obviously they
I
have to.
love the cover, but selfishly, I want to see like what they would come up with. It's always exciting
Yeah,
to have different ones, but
yeah,
that
it'd
cover
be
is
fun.
incredible. I can understand why they wouldn't change it, but yeah, I saw your like stories on like that week or whatever the days around it, especially. There's was like a lot of hype coming from the Spanish
Yeah,
crew,
yes,
excitement.
so exciting. Like it's awesome. I'm really excited to like hopefully get cover or copies and then send them to
Yeah.
family members that obviously couldn't read my book because it's in English. And so,
Oh my
like
God.
I'm pumped. I'm really excited. So yeah, it's beautiful, it's exciting. I love it. A Cruel Thirst will be published in Spanish through the same publisher.
Oh my God.
Which yeah, so that'll be really
Babe,
fun. I
this
know,
is
that'll be
all so
fun.
exciting.
Yeah, A Cruel Thirst is slowly like it's gonna be in Spanish, Russian, and then I know. And I
Did
haven't
I know this?
announced.
I don't know if I've been like, if I've blanked, but I feel like I'm hearing this for the first time and I'm very
I don't
excited.
know. I don't know. I
Russia.
posted once on Instagram, but not like have been
Mm,
like, out here telling everybody.
yeah.
But we also other places as well. I actually just got an email today of another place, and so it's not like official yet, but we will be also in the UK, which is really fun.
Angela Montoya going to
Yeah.
the UK. That's major, babe.
Yeah. I was so excited about that one. Like I
I
was just
got
pumped.
chills.
She's gonna be out there. And who know, because I always love the UK, like that one in particular, because I've seen so
Mm.
many cool covers come from the UK.
Oh yeah,
So we'll
they'll do a
see.
new one.
Yeah, we'll see.
100%
So
they'll
that'd be
change it up.
fun. That'd be fun.
Mm.
Yeah. And then another place in Europe as well, but I probably can't say anything,
No one will
but
know.
it's in France.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah. So that's fun.
That's so perfect. Do I cut that out or leave it?
Yeah, it's
I
fine
can
because I
cut
don't
it
think
out.
anybody can. Yeah,
No, they can't hear it. If they zoom
yeah, they
in,
can't
they
hear.
deserve to know. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. That's
Yeah,
so
so I'm excited.
wonderful.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm happy. You know, it's interesting like talking with Hayley about book two
Mm,
because that second book really is such a beast. And you know, you put your heart and soul into the first book and you have all this
mm.
time to do it. And you know, going into the second one was so scary and so overwhelming. Um, but at the end of the day, like it has to be done. And like what she mentioned was just like remembering to have fun and finding the joy. And when I finally clicked with the characters with Lalo and Carolina and like their dynamic, that was the fun and the joy and shit talking with you.
I was
And
gonna say, I
so,
think we
yeah.
were draft racing that, and I think that was Knight in Rusted Armor that I was probably either revi No, I was
Wow.
drafting that with you. I think that was then.
It was,
Yeah,
huh?
it was definitely heavy days. That was like right in the midst of like COVID. Was it still lockdowns? It was still grim. There was still like a lot
It
of
was still
shit.
grim. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure no matter what was happening, it was probably still grim
Yeah, I
globally.
think those books really got written because we were just shit talking at each other through it, eh?
Absolutely. Yeah. And now, like, how are you doing with everything with revisions and
Really
like
good
what's
at the
happening?
moment. Yeah, like I
Good.
took it's so funny, like last week you and I we chat about, you brought up how nothing was kind of hitting the spot. And like I didn't even know, it's so bizarre how you and I tend to align so much. I don't even know if you realize how much I'd been feeling that like prior to, maybe we're a touch out of alignment. For me, it was very heavily like that for a few months. Maybe I guess when I was sick and everything was like just nothing was hitting it. And yeah, like I've found that like I really, yeah, like trying to zone in on this revision. For the first time, I think I'm like actually prioritizing myself and my work, which like it's so funny because my therapist has often said to me, because I'll be like, I feel like like I'm selfish about this, or like I already do enough for myself or whatever. And she'll just be like, no, you're, she's like, I didn't realize that even that can still come from a people pleaserish, like watching out for everyone else still, is like a default, especially as women, I think. And
Mm.
I think like this week, I really like, I said no to seeing, friends who had come from overseas even, and I would have liked to see that friend, but I was just like, I just have to stay. By the time you say yes to every little thing, even like little things, like, usually I would stop and chat to the little granny on the street. Like I like those things, but sometimes when you do 100 of those little things, saying yes to all these little things, suddenly you're on the pressure with your shit, you know? And I
Mm-hmm.
kind of like I had a little chat with Sandra the other day. She was checking in, and like that check-in just lit up something in my brain. And I was like, I'm not sick anymore. I actually think I had a bit of long COVID. My brain has been really syrupy for a while after COVID.
Mm. That's
And
no joke. That long coat, like it lingers. It's a
it really
bitch.
lingered. And I would like actually cry to Phil a couple times about it and just be like, I just feel like I'll wake up and the day will just be gone and I don't know what I've done for
Mm-hmm.
like weeks. I felt like that. And the timing of getting an agent with that made me feel a bit like, can I do this? Is something wrong with
Mm.
me? But I've really come out the other end of that finally. And, but yeah, like what? It's been months since I had it. Um, And I guess like having that little check-in with Sandra, I'd been picking up the pace for a while now and I was kind of like ready to get it done. But when we had our little chat and our check-in, I was like, I'm going to set a deadline and I want to get it done by the end of this week. And and just like not be on social media. Sorry, I'm mixing 20 topics at once. Thank you for trying to stay engaged in all 20 topics. But yeah, like so the revision's going good is the moral to that story. But like having that check-in with her just made me like fully realize all over again, like fuck, like we were talking about with Hayley, I'm literally in the middle of what I used to dream about, and like
Yeah.
I'm ready to say no to like a bunch of shit to finish this, to really prioritize this and prioritize myself for 1 second and be like, these are the dreams I've been working towards, and a happy accident side quest of that has been by just disconnecting from social media, except for the doing pod stuff and like DMs with good friends. Like, you know how we were talking about just like that feeling of nothing hitting the spot with like TV and stuff. But then yesterday I watched this anime and I was like a kid watching it. I had that rush that I haven't had in so long
Mm.
from stuff. Mary and what's it called? Mary and the Witch's Seed or something. It's like
Mm.
the guy used to work with Studio Ghibli, Mary and the Witch's Flower. It feels so much like a Studio Ghibli movie that I've never seen. It just lit up my whole body watching it. And I was like, wow, this is so amazing. And then I was also like, but you also have barely been on social media.
Mm-hmm.
I devoured it and it did the thing. So I have to say, cleansing from social media, even a short amount of time has, I think, really, it's changing that in me.
I
Sorry,
love
that
that
was
for you.
such a 20
No.
answers to one question. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, but I love that for you. I do. Like that, finding that joy in a movie or show is one of my
Mm,
favorite things where you're just like,
yeah.
I can't stop watching this. It's so good. It's like filling something inside my heart and making me all swollen and happy inside. I meant my heart is swelling.
Swollen and happy inside, Angela, was a
I'm
choice.
a writer.
That's
I'm
a
a
different
writer.
kind of anime, my friend.
Yeah. I meant my heart swells. Okay. Um, but but like that's my favorite freaking thing. And
Yeah.
it really truly does feel like social media because it's like your brain is like been programmed to like nope, next thing, next thing, next thing. This isn't like hitting the thing. It's hard to like dive into those shows. And
Mm,
so taking that break is giving your brain like the space that it needs to
100.
enjoy and consume the goods. So yes, more of that. More
Yeah.
of that.
And I'm like historically, our guest Byron last week was saying like when he watches something, he's in it. Like he's in it, living it. And when I'm really invested, so am I. Like when I paused to get up to the bathroom, I was literally like, oh, we exist on this realm. And it's been so long since I was that deeply in something. So reporting from the other
Yeah.
side, give yourself a break from social media and it will reset your brain. Um,
Hell yes.
mm,
Doing it. No, I am every day I'm like, I'm getting rid of TikTok. I'm doing it. Um, yeah, honestly, I'll probably do it. Like, I don't
yes.
feel like I'm missing, to be honest, like I don't really feel like I feel like my taste is like changing with it anyways, because I just don't
Mm,
want to anymore. I don't want to like
hmm.
feel this need to continue to scroll and truly like Instagram, I feel like for me is easier because I don't really go on like the reels a lot. Like I don't see them a lot.
Yeah.
And so for me, like my brain is still like, no pictures, like, do a little comment, scroll, and then I'm good. But with TikTok,
Mm,
like it doesn't give you that, like, just here's a few cute pictures of
yeah.
friends or what they're doing. It's like boom, bam, boom. And your brain is constantly like, oh wow, this is crazy, this is wild. Um, but like I feel like my taste for it is like disappearing a little bit just because I
Mm,
want to just touch grass. I want to
yeah.
watch the things and because those were the things were what actually made me happy before I
Yeah.
got on TikTok. So
And also,
yes.
something I've been thinking about lately as well is like the energy of attraction, right? Like at a like let them come to you as well. Like you
Oh.
are the celebrity. Like,
Oh.
like I know it sounds a bit like we're encouraged not to speak like this, and I don't mean it from a point of arrogance, but sometimes when I'm having a meltdown over something or like worrying, that's what my husband Phil will say to me. He's like, "You're the celebrity." He's like, and I'm just like, "But I'm not." And I don't necessarily want to be one. I definitely don't, which is why I hesitate to use the language. But he says it to me because of that, because of the energy of attraction. Like, you hustle so, so much. And I actually think it was necessary to break into the industry and to get where you are and whatever. But at a point, you cannot keep investing that much energy into so many different places. I think doing that found us what we have now. So the
Yeah.
instinct is to keep doing that broad, looking like sweeping the lands to like find what we have. Like we have it now, that community, those people. And if
Yeah.
that's gonna expand, that's for me, I'm realizing that at the moment. If that's gonna expand to do so naturally in a way that's meaningful to me, sometimes you've got to let people come to you now rather than like seek them out in the same way maybe we were before starting out.
Mm.
Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense?
No, it does. Absolutely. Like it's true. Like when we first started all of this, we put so much energy into like building the platform
Yeah,
and, and all of these things, the right pictures, the right posts. And yeah, you, we did it. Like we found
yeah.
the community that we were searching for. And like, it's great. So
It's great.
like,
And like we find every time we have a new guest on, we find another member of that community. And by extension, people who listen to that episode and they'll sometimes connect and suddenly you have a new friend and when it works, right? But like,
yeah.
yeah, I don't feel that need to just like go out in force and try find my place anymore because I'm like, well, you did that for so long. And it's okay to be like, I found it and cherish
Mm,
that and shift that energy into now like watering this, like what you've created,
yeah.
which is so, so much, you
Oh,
know?
that's good. I like that, like shifting the energy into watering what you
Yeah,
already have, like the seeds that you've already planted.
that's
Because
it.
I do also feel that like lately,
Mm.
and I don't know if it stemmed from like when I went to the Steamy Lit and I didn't get invited to the dinner, but like I felt like, I have so many connections and like I do have like all of these like acquaintances and uh, you know, whatever relationships that
Yeah.
I've built, but I don't necessarily feel like I have super, super close relationships with like a ton of people, but also I probably can't handle that because my brain can't handle too many.
That's what I was about
But
to say. What does
yeah,
that look like to in when you
I don't,
actually map
oh,
that out? What would it look like to have super, super close relationships with a ton of people? I'll tell you what it looks like. Hell, you can't actually do that. Like,
yeah,
as someone who used to live in dorms at college, you can't. You can't. You can have like deep
that's good.
moments with a ton of people. You can have encounters that feel very deep and meaningful, but you can't like give that much energy so broadly. Like
Okay,
it's
yeah,
like it can be
that's true.
like a handful of like really I don't know how people would manage more than that to be like really, really close. Your
All right,
souls
that's
can
true
align
too.
with like
Yeah,
heaps of people. Like I definitely meet people again, like the podcast. How many times we have someone on the show and I'm just like, whoa, you're my new best friend. But realistically, you can't be in all of their DMs every day, like talking about the meaning of life. It's not possible, you know?
all right, thank you. No, you're right. You're right. Here I was going from like I was like I was extending myself too hard with TikTok and all the things, and then I was like, let me just shift it into extending myself too hard into all
Yes.
something else. Okay, you're right. You're right. I
Yeah.
can't handle that. You're
Water the
right.
seeds that you
Okay.
have.
Thank you. Thank you. I've got problems. I don't
Girl,
know.
don't we all? I'm only telling you because this is the shit I tell myself every day. You know? Yeah, and it's like hard because like I think like for me at least, it can be from the extreme of going from being like utterly overwhelmed by people to being lonely. Like I do
Yeah.
crave, maybe that's like maybe that's just human. I was gonna say maybe that's the ADHD part of me, but like no, I think it's maybe just human to like want that like connection
Yeah.
and whatever. But then
Yeah.
it can also be too much, like if it's all the time and like in too many amounts.
Yeah. I just want to be liked. And
You're
like,
not just liked, you're
so,
loved. You are
thank you.
loved by so many people. And
Thank
I
you.
think the people who don't like you aren't your people. And again,
Yeah.
I know it's easier said than as a former people, as a recovering, I shouldn't say former, as a recovering people pleaser, damn, that urge to be liked is strong. You know, like it's really powerful. And I think, again, it's like an instinctive, like caveman need, right? To like be welcomed into the tribe and not cast
Mhm.
out. It comes from a very like primal place in us, I think, that
Oh,
that
that's good.
urge to be like part of the community and not because like back in caveman days, you cast out, people don't like you in your community. Well, good luck with the dinosaurs.
Oh, damn. That's good.
You know? I
That's
think
real life right there.
listen, I'm not
Like,
like a paleontologist or like a scientist or whatever. This like is just my, basic understanding of things. So some of it's probably wrong. Don't quote me on caveman and dinosaur timelines. But what I know is there's like some very basic urges in us that can
yeah.
rule us if we don't like check it, you know?
Yeah. No, that's so autumnal. Oh, shit. I can't even say the word.
It's so autumnal of me.
It's so autumnal of you.
Serving
Um,
autumnal therapized realness.
yes, thank you. I feel the autumn wind.
Thank you, Autumn
Um,
Daddy. Oh my God, I've been watching, hang on, before I forget, I've been watching this show called For the Love of Dilfs.
oh,
It's this glorious, so it's all these, it's a manor. It's the fucking cheapest budget shit of your life with,
love that.
the host is Stormy Daniels. She's like a porn
Okay.
star that like famously
Yeah.
Trump indicted or whatever. Is that the right word? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
She hosts the show.
Well, sure. Of course.
I think she's there for like all the like straight husbands who are going to be forced to watch the show with their wife.
Yeah, they're like, well, if she's there.
Yeah, yeah, they got to have some titties to look at, but because it's daddies and himbos. So the in the manor, this is the other show I was gonna say
Oh,
might break you
oh,
from
yeah.
your give
I've
you
seen this.
you've
I haven't
seen it?
watched it. I've seen the commercials for it.
Okay, yes. So they come into the manor and there's all these daddies and then all these himbos, and they're meant to like match up to find love in the manor. But obviously, chaos ensues. And also, like I said, the cheapest producing of your life. Like even when they do the challenges and you're like, oh, where are they going to take them? And they're like, it's out by the pool.
To the backyard.
Yeah, yeah. They're like, we're sending you on a private date to the backyard. They're like, we're giving you all your own rooms. Or you're gonna all finally share beds in rooms in one room together.
Nice. Love it. Love it. Oh my God.
Anyway,
Okay,
I
well, I'm gonna have to try
digress.
it. I'm gonna have to try it.
Please.
But I'm seeing we're down to 6 minutes. Was there anything that you had that you wanted to share?
Yeah,
Like about
I did.
you know what I'm talking about. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I did. Was there anything else you wanted to say today?
No, no,
Because we can
I think I've said enough.
you said all the perfect things. Yes, today I touched on it last week, but I kind of wanted to expand on it for today's installment of like mental health tools that, like, again, just from my own experience, things that have helped me, and just sharing that. So, yeah, initially I was gonna say find a professional for this episode.
Mm.
I've changed the wording of that to find the right professional for
Oh,
you.
that's good.
Yeah, and I think it's really an important distinction, that wording, because not all doctors are equal, not all therapists are equal, not all acupuncturists are equal, not all whatever. The list goes on and on and on. And like, for example, the first doctor that I actively, like, I remember I was like, oh, I was still young then, maybe even like 20 or something. And I was like on the verge of like a freaking nervous breakdown. And again, I had no words for what was going on in my body because I hadn't been brought up with that language. I just knew I felt like I was exploding all the time and everything felt so intense. So when that reached a point of like crescendo, I was living with my parents, no surprise. No, they're fine. But it tends to like escalate things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And anyway, so I went to a doctor and plucked up the courage to like ask something about, I was like, I think I might have anxiety. And I kid you not, this doctor turned around and said to me, You're you're young and beautiful. What have you got to be anxious about?
Oh no.
And that was my first touchstone. And it's probably what led me down more Eastern holistic medicine because my touchstones, unfortunately, in my experience, were not great. So me,
No.
who had like plucked up the courage, I wasn't getting like my family are all very old school mindset with that stuff. They weren't like go get see a therapist, whatever, or whatever. They're just like, you're fine, as that generation tends to be. They're fine until they're not, right? So I guess my experience with that as a very young person, having no idea about anything else, was crippling. And I didn't look
Mm.
for help beyond that for a long time. So that's why encourage people find the right professional. It took me a while, even with psychologists and therapists, whatever, over the years, to find one where I was like, this person hears me, they align with what is feels healing to me. And that's another thing, like
Mm.
what feels healing to each person is going to be different. I believe that. I believe that there's not this one healing path for all of us that like is the right way. I really think it comes down to the person and like what's going to nourish your system, what's going to give you healing. But having that professional touchstone, some professional touchstone to check in, um, to help myself have that language for what was happening to me. And yeah, because like in between that, we had this big trip to Japan and stuff, and it like kind of paused my nervous breakdown, but it was waiting when I came back, and all the same things were still unresolved, And again, took a busy surgeon. I went into emergency ward several times with like chest pain and whatever, because that's where they send you. Again, the
Yeah.
Western system didn't give me those words to help understand what was going on with me. It was one busy surgeon who was like, "Have you ever had a panic attack?" That's one
Mm.
surgeon changed my life because I started to question what was happening in my body and
Gave you a
find
word for what it was. Yeah.
that's it. That's it. And before that, I didn't have those words. And again, that's why I want to talk about this because it's surprising how few people have those words for what's happening in their own body. And especially like, the generations that raised us. And for good reason. Sometimes they grew up with the stigma because like I literally have a friend, I remember her telling me her mom's friend got sent away. She had anxiety, but she was
Mm.
sent away and she didn't come back for 20 years. They sent her off to some. So it's kind of understandable why the older generation have this stigma because it was the way it was dealt with was frightening, right? But that's
Yeah.
why we need to talk about it more, break down the stigma. And I just really think like whatever you're going through, finding a professional you trust that you can talk about what's going on in your body, what's going on in your mind. I really think that that is an important step of having someone to check in with when things are really intense. So that's today's tip before I run out of time. Do you have a quick bio to read? I see I have extended us.
Yes, I shall try. Okay. Hayley Dennings. Oh, we're going to introduce Hayley, guys. Thank you, Melanie, for being so amazing. Hayley Dennings is a recent graduate from Loyola Marymount University, where she double majored in English and French with a concentration in diversity and inclusion. Hayley loves stories centered on queer female characters and dedicates her writing to actively resisting misogynoir. She currently resides in the Bay Area, working as an editorial and marketing associate for Fable. When Hayley is not working, she is spending time with her dogs, reading, painting, and baking. Hayley is amazing. Melanie, so are you. Um, I'm amazing as
You
well. We're
are
all
for getting
amazing.
that bio out. Hello.
Hello.
Haley, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you? Good.
Good. Good. Excited to have you on and chit chat about everything. Get
Yeah,
into it.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, so excited. I think we'll just get right into it then,
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
ready.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, yeah, again, thank you for joining us. I've been dying to have you on. Like I have been meaning to ask you for forever. I think since I saw you at Y'all West. But you know how life is. So
Yeah.
here we
Totally
are,
get it.
thankful that you are here with us right now. But first, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Haley. I'm an author from the Bay Area in California, and my debut novel, This Ravenous Fate, just came out almost exactly a month ago. So I've actually been on deadline since then, but now I finally can relax, maybe enjoy some of my other hobbies. I think in my bio it says I paint and haven't painted in forever, but maybe I'll try and do that. But I'm just happy to be here.
Yes. Oh my gosh, what kind of stuff do you paint when you have the time?
Honestly, anything. I really like a landscape. I'm not that great at painting people, so landscapes are more fun. I think I can have a bit more creativity with like the colors and shapes. So
Mm.
practicing that has been fun.
Nice. Okay, so are you off of deadline now? Have you made deadline?
I am. I just sent my book off this morning.
Oh my
Woo!
God. Well,
Yeah,
congratulations.
thank you. It was a
That's
During,
long
pressure.
2 months.
oh my, that's wild. So two
Mm.
months, like the month leading up to debut, and then the month directly after.
Yeah, it wasn't even supposed to be the month after. My deadline was like a week before my book came out, and I was like, guys, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this because I'm there's too much going on. And they were very flexible with me, thankfully, because I was like, the book is not where I want it to be. So now it's much
Mm.
better, and I'm happy with it. So
Awesome.
thank you
And
Mm.
to
now
them.
it's time to paint.
Time to paint.
Yes, paint and bake.
It's wild to me though how often it seems like debut event type things are aligned with, by the way, there's like deadline approaching. I feel like maybe publishing needs to have a conversation about that.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
yeah, no, 100%. I see people whose their schedules are like so much nicer. Like they'll be working on stuff like way far
Mm,
ahead in advance. I'm like, no, why can't I do that? Like, why don't sit
mm.
me down and be like, if you don't want to be on deadline when your book comes out, let's do book two right now.
Yes.
Yep. Hindsight. Yeah. Well, now you have it done, and I'm sure it's
Yes.
perfect and beautiful, and there'll be no edits, nothing for you to be done to be
Mhm.
done. And so you're good.
Yeah.
You're golden. Yeah, all the painting, all the baking ahead. I saw a floofy tail pass by you. And I can't not bring it up. What is that, your puppy? Was that a dog I saw?
Yeah, yeah, my dogs know how to open my doors, so it doesn't even matter if I close it now. They'll just burst in here, look at me, and then leave. So she just left.
I
Uh,
love that.
they have to
I
sight
love
you.
it.
They're like still there. Okay,
Yeah,
step. As soon
yeah,
as you close the door, that's a challenge. You know, they won't
yeah.
accept a closed door.
No, 100%.
That's so real. Yeah, that's so real. Okay, well, I want to ask one of our favorite questions, which is, what is the strangest thing you own?
Mm.
My goodness. I love this question. I love how like you sent me these questions ahead of time and I did not think about it. But I want to say I have a candle that has Pedro Pascal on it, like as a saint, that my friend just got me for my birthday. I think that's probably the strangest thing I own. That's the only thing I can think of. It's on my nightstand because I love candles, and I was like, this one's perfect because I also love Pedro. So it's
That's a
probably the
good
weirdest
friend.
one.
That
That's
is
a
a
good
good
Yeah,
friend.
friend.
yeah, she's
That's the
great.
strangest, but also the best.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that so much. And our other, like, super important question, what is something you think about way too often?
Well, I would say up until today, it was my book too,
Mm.
literally haunting my thoughts all the time. And now I think a lot about my favorite TV show, which is Arcane, because season two is coming out really soon. And they just released a trailer. It's so beautiful,
Mhm.
and I'm so excited.
Yes. Yes. When does it come out again? Is that no this no No, not this November, but next.
Yes, this November.
It's this November. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we've been waiting forever. It's so fucking good.
So
No,
good.
it is a masterpiece. I'm like, I always tell people, I'm like, don't ask me about Arcane because I will talk for 30,000 hours. You don't need that.
We need it.
Honestly,
We need
yeah.
it. I'm a fangirl as well. Honestly, you've blown my mind because when I watched it, it was like my universe for a while. And then I would keep checking where's news of no. I stopped checking. So today you've blown my mind that it's already
Oh my God.
because you just can't, otherwise it just takes too long if you keep looking when it's coming. So I
Yeah.
just give up. I'm like, if it happens, it happens. They might even cancel. I don't want to get my hopes up.
No.
I mean, it's happened, not with this one, but it's happened to
Yes.
me when I've been checking.
So
So I'm
sad,
excited.
dude.
Yeah, the artwork.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the artwork is out of this world, and the storyline, the
Stunning.
world building, it's top tier, like
Mm,
chef's kiss. It's perfect.
Flawless.
We
Love it
watched
all.
it twice. I'm gonna have to rewatch before
Yeah.
we start again.
Same. It's been 3
yeah.
years.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's wild right there, right? Like this whole time just is a blur.
It
Oh
really
my
is.
gosh, that's crazy. Yeah. Well, good. It's happening. You have taste, clearly.
Yes. Well, I mean, I would like question anyone who doesn't like Arcane. If you haven't watched it yet,
Right.
like, and you're a storyteller,
Yeah.
what are you even doing? It's almost as bad
No,
as not
exactly.
having watched Avatar Last Airbender.
So true.
I'm
Which I will
attacking-
say I didn't because I didn't watch it until like a couple years ago, and I was like, why have I not seen this?
I'm sorry,
Guys, I'm gonna
directly
get to it.
attacking Angela
You
with that
got
one.
to.
Well, bringing it back
Your
to
mind
writing.
is gonna explode.
Yes, thank you. I keep telling her. I think she can't weather those first episodes, which like it takes a second to get into. But thank you for bringing that. But
It'll
bringing it
happen.
back to writing, I want to ask, did you always want to be a writer?
Yes, literally ever since I can remember. When I was really little, like before I could even write, I remember I would like tell my stories to my mom and she would write them in a notebook, and I still have the notebook. So I have all my like 3-year-old, 2-year-old stories. And yeah, it grew from there. Like I remember I always loved doing the creative writing assignments in class, and I always would like beg my teachers to do more of them. And a lot of my teachers would be like, wow, like you really have like a gift here. And I'm like, thank you. I really suck at math. So thank you for telling me that. And yeah, literally ever since I can remember, I've always wanted to be a writer.
Oh, I love that. Do you have siblings?
Yes, I
Okay,
do.
so
Older
were
brother and
you
younger brother.
okay, were you forcing them to like act out the things that you would, like write up? And because I was doing that. I was, yeah.
Honestly, like not really. Like when we were younger, we would all kind of like tell each other stories. We would kind of take turns doing this like hybrid kind of like Frankenstein of a story where we'd like mash together all our ideas. But as I got older, I like didn't really want anyone to read them. My older brother would like take my stories when I printed them out, or he'd just like take my computer and be like, I'm gonna edit this for you. And I'm like, okay. And he had like good advice, but I was like, I didn't ask. This is not ready for other eyes right now. But they've always been supportive, so that's great.
That is great. I love that so much. Especially with brothers, you just never know what they're up to.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that he wanted to edit it. I thought it was gonna get bleak. Like he set fire to your pages.
Yeah, no, oh my God, like Little Woman.
Right. That's so wrong. I'm still so scarred from that movie. Maybe that's where this came from, where I was like,
yeah,
good things. Okay, good.
The trauma.
Yes, the major trauma. So tell us like a little bit about how you went from, gatekeeping your stories into being a published author. Like tell us about your publishing journey.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I met a lot of people during the pandemic, like on Twitter and online, just talking about writing, because I was really in the book community for a long time. I was a booktuber, and I started like filming my writing because I was like, maybe I should talk about my writing a bit more. So I found a lot of friends through that, and we just kind of started exchanging work. And it just worked that way. They've been my critique partners and my beta readers now for years, and they're the ones who encouraged me to like start querying and pursuing publishing because I'd always wanted to be a published author, but I don't know why. I was like, they said I was stalling. They were like, Haley, you've written like 5 books. You need to, the next one you need to put it out there. And I'm like, I'm just in no rush, like I'm doing this for fun. But I'm glad that they did tell me to do it because otherwise I probably would have just kept writing and then just never would have done anything with it. But yeah, thanks to them, honestly, and the pandemic and me having too much time to be online.
Mm.
I love that you were in no rush because so often like we hear and experience for ourselves like the opposite where it's like I've written the thing, now let me hurry up and like get this clear, like let me just rush and I need it and it becomes this obsession. But you were over here just like, no, I'm just going to keep writing for the fun of it. And you had to be forced out of your comfort zone, which, you know, we have to like shout out CPs and beta readers and friends who give us those gentle nudges. And, you know, again, here you are. Thanks to your friends.
Thanks to them.
Yeah, no, I think that's amazing. So when you decided to like jump in the querying trenches, what was that like for you?
It was honestly, it was kind of weird because I'd like been online just talking nonstop about my book. So I had some interest from agents and editors already. So by the time I queried, there were already a lot of people like kind of waiting for my book. So I was really lucky when I started querying. I didn't really have like that much anxiety surrounding it because I was like, I feel like this book is actually like maybe wanted by some people. And so and I also had like a really great group of people surrounding me to support. And yeah, my querying process was like really fast because I also did DV Pit on Twitter, and that's where I also got like a lot of traction. And so it was really fast for me. Luckily, sub is a different. So sub was also fast, but like the rejections were so much worse. But yeah, my process. I'm really happy for it because I look back now at querying writers, and it's like so scary out there, and I feel so bad for them.
It does feel like that it's become more of a creature, the querying trend, more of a void. And it's like part of why we love to talk about it so much on the podcast, because I never get tired of hearing what everyone's query journey was like, because everyone was different. And it's kind of the only way you can like piece in those like mysterious puzzle pieces of what it really is to query.
Yeah, 100%. I remember when I started querying and when I went on sub, I would read so many newsletters and blog posts about it because I'm like, I just need to know more. And I would like talk to all my friends who've been through, and they're like, any more questions you have? Like, feel free. And I'm like, great, I have 100. And so I was really happy to have them.
Yes, we love a support network. Was there anything that surprised you in the publishing world?
I mean, honestly, so many things. I like to think that I did so much research going into it because I've like dreamed of being published for so long. So I knew like what querying was and what going on sub was, but I definitely didn't know like after you get the book deal, like what goes into, doing the edits and like the marketing stuff. And yeah, so a lot of that was a surprise. And I'm still, especially like going to book two, everyone's like, book two is the worst and you're going to have a terrible time. And I was like, it's a sequel. Like, it can't be that bad. No, it's really bad. I would say that was probably like my number one surprise because I've always been like a drafter. I love drafting, and then revising, I hated it. But publishing definitely like made me love revising more. And I think that was also another surprise for me that I could like change what I loved so much just by like going through it a million times. And so yeah, book two, huge surprise, but it's over now. I'm glad I survived it.
You survived it. No, book two is a bitch. And I like mine was a completely separate world, standalone. I feel like sequels would be almost scarier in a way, like harder. I don't know, unless you already have it planned out and you know everything. But yeah, I thought same thing, like book two, oh, it's fine. I've done this, like I got this. But then something about sitting down and digging deep after you've already done the thing is so scary. But I also love what you said about learning about revising. Because even like I just finished writing something and I sent it to my editor, And I know it's not perfect. I know there's things to be worked on. And I'm like, well, I got this. I've done this before. We're
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
I
I love it.
wonder,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
exactly.
Do you think it's maybe like the pressure of like people like wait, like I'm asking you both. Do you think it's the pressure of like this one's been received, like now I'm waiting to see what people will think of this one? Do you think it's that pressure or something else that makes it so hard? I want to know.
Yeah. Go for
Yeah,
it,
I
Haley.
mean, it's definitely the pressure. And I think also just I would compare my first draft to my like final draft of the first book. And I would tell myself, I'm like, this has been through so many rounds of edits. Like, why are you doing this to yourself? But I don't know, it's weird to see my writing like change as we go. Like throughout publishing, that's another thing that really like was crazy to me because I'm like, I started writing this book 2 years ago and now I feel like I'm a different writer, but like there's still parts of my past in here. It's really weird. And so like trying to figure out which parts I want to keep versus update has been weird. But then also like I started working on the sequel like around the time my first book went on NetGalley. And so that's when I was like, I need to get off Goodreads because this is not for me. And but I had like all of these thoughts because people would also tag me in reviews and I would like see their comments and their thoughts and it would just be in my head while I'm writing and I'm like I can't think about this because I need to be married to the idea that I want and like the vision that I have for the story. But it was so hard not to think about what expectations these people already had. So there was that sense of pressure. But I think at the end of the day, I just wanted to have a good time with the book, like how I did writing the first book. And like that, I think was a good way for me to tell that I'm
Mm,
writing what I need to write and that the story that I want to tell is coming out.
mm,
Oh, that's good. That is good. Yeah, it's like when you right there, like when you're having a good time and when you unlock that joy, that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly why you're doing it. That's the
mm,
goods. That's the sauce.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
mm,
Yes. But for me, I struggled so much with what you said, which was the first draft is not going to look like the
mm.
finished draft of the first
Mm-hmm.
book. And that was something I think Melanie had to keep reminding me, which is like, it's okay to have this messy ass thing because the first book was this messy ass thing at 1.2.
Yeah.
And it just goes through the rounds of revisions and it gets polished and these things takes time. So, but I do feel like this second time I did it a little better, a little faster because like you said, like you learn as you're going. And so you're understanding the tricks of refinement earlier on. And so, yeah.
Yes.
So you just hope that with each new book you write, like you get a little bit better and maybe it gets faster or not, and that's okay. But
Mm-hmm.
you've got it because you've got these tricks.
Mm.
Is there any sort of like tips of writing tips that you can give to our listeners? I know it's a tricky question.
Honestly, yeah, the number one thing I always say is that the first draft just has to exist
Mm,
because I think that's what held me back a lot before I ever finished a book. I would always be like, but it's not good enough. It's not pretty enough. And I'm like, the first draft literally is just me telling the story to myself. And then I can worry about making it pretty or good enough later. And then honestly, another piece of advice that I got from Tracy Dion when I was like suffering through book two, I was saying how I'm like a perfectionist, so it's really hard for me to like be working on something that isn't perfect. And then she was like, I don't really think, it's about perfectionism. I think it's about like wanting to complete something. Like you have a vision for your story and you're working towards completing that vision. And I was like, that is so smart. Like you just changed my life. And I think that's when everything kind of clicked into place because I'm like, this isn't about being perfect. Like nothing can ever be perfect. But as long as, it's kind of aligning with the vision that you have, that's really at least that's all I want as a
Mm.
writer. So knowing that and then also like the first draft just needs to exist, just write and get it on the page. That helps me so much because I can't like critique a story that isn't there yet. So I always just have to have it on the page first and that always helps a lot.
It's such a powerful mindset to have. And I think it's like, e- even just the way that, like you were saying, listening to all these comments and stuff, like it takes a really strong mind to have all these people and the comments come up, right? And you want to interact with people. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I wish that such and such did this, or like, why didn't she do this with this character?
Yeah.
And like as an author, you don't want to like disappoint your readers, but at the same time, what you've been able to do and just like go back to the heart of like what you want to write and stuff, it's so important to not like just get sucked into the whirlpool of it all, because otherwise I think it's important to listen a bit. You've got to like take in some information to like grow. But at the same time, if you're
Mhm.
like open to the constant stream of people, of everyone else's thoughts and dreams and consciousness, I think you lose yourself in it. So it's like such a powerful
Yeah.
grounding thing to that you were able to do that. The opposite.
The opposite of that. Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. Stay grounded. Stay out of Goodreads. The good stay right. But I luckily, I mean, knock on wood, so far it's been decent, but like I've heard of authors getting tagged in negative reviews. And like, please don't do that to us, guys. Please. That's painful.
Yeah.
It hurts.
Why would
Please.
people do it? I cannot fathom.
I don't
Do they
know.
want the
Please.
author to, maybe they're so mad they want the author to feel their pain. They're like,
Maybe.
you did this to me. But
That
Yeah,
could be.
automatically,
honestly.
yeah, like automatically anyone who would do that, I wouldn't care about their opinion anyway, because I'm like the kind of people that like
Right.
I vibe with would never do that. So I'm like, well, automatically you're just like not my people.
Yeah, yeah.
No, honestly. I feel like honestly sometimes reviewers just forget that authors are people. So they're like, "Oh, this is your product. You should see this." And that's it.
Mm.
You should see this painful review. Yeah, yeah. No, that's true. We try to avoid it, but sometimes we just can't, and it just comes.
Yep.
But I will not accept any negative reviews of your debut novel, The Ravenous Fate. It's not happening, not here on this podcast. Congratulations. So it's been a month that it's been out. Well, first, can you tell our listeners what it's about?
Yeah, so this Ravenous Fate, I call it my sapphic vampire book because it has a vampire and a vampire hunter who are forced to work together to solve a string of murders throughout 1920s Harlem that might be connected to a cure for vampirism. So it's very bloody, it's full of yearning because their childhood friends turned enemies, and them just trying to figure out how to work together and overcome their strife to defeat a greater evil. Very intense, but also steeped in history because I'm a nerd and I love the Harlem Renaissance. And it was so cool to get to like do a bunch of research and get to put that in the book and like teach people while also giving them like a fun story to hang on to.
Love that so much, honestly. And the character art, every time I see it like come through my page, I'm always like, yes, please. It's so, so good.
Mm.
Yes.
You had me
Mhm.
at very bloody and yearning. That's like the
Yes.
tagline.
Yeah, my two favorite things.
Yeah.
Well, what inspired you to write it?
Honestly, a few things. I think the idea first came when I was having a conversation with my friend, and we were talking about immortality and what it would be like if there was an immortal character who, like, it isn't romanticized because they're basically rotting as they get older and, like, all their loved ones are dying and they're basically just miserable. And I kind of saw that as an opportunity to explore, like, how history and like intergenerational trauma passes through generations as something that like feeds on people and takes away from them. And so then I was like, what is an immortal creature that is like human but not human? And I was like, vampires. And I never honestly was like a huge fan of vampires, but getting to kind of like put my own spin on it was a lot of fun for me. And then at the time I was in a Black woman writers class and we were talking about the Harlem Renaissance, reading authors of that time, and I was just like, I love this period so much. And there's not enough fiction, especially like children's lit, young adult lit, that talks about it. And I think especially because I knew I wanted this to be a historical novel, and I think for like when people think about Black history, it's always like the trauma, but the Harlem Renaissance is specifically a time period where Blackness is celebrated. So I thought that would be really special, especially because like subject matter of my book is really dark, but at the same time, I'm like, there is also great stuff going on. And I kind of like that like contrast of there being like this really loud and beautiful decadent period where there's also so much corruption and blood underneath and just the nuances of history and like kind of peeling back the carpet and having like an honest conversation of things that have happened. So It was a lot, but it was a lot of fun for me and honestly very cathartic because I've always wanted more queer Black books. So I really just wrote what I wanted, honestly.
Yes. Hell yes. Yes, thank you. I love that like you have like you mentioned like it's like the glitz and the glam but also all the underneath layers of blood and darkness and just like
Mhm.
seediness. I love it. I'm so like I'm so pumped for everybody to read this book. And is there anything that you like wish readers knew maybe before they even opened the book up?
Honestly, I don't know, maybe just check the trigger warnings and go into it knowing that it's like not romantasy. Because I feel like some people, I like romantasy is huge right now, and like I love it. I'm happy for everyone. But this book is definitely more about like the political intrigue and the historical implications and stuff. And the romance is like a huge driving part, but I don't want people going in expecting it to be like super romantic. Then they're like, they only kissed once. So where's the rest of the romance? And I'm like, well, it's not a romantasy. I don't know what to tell you.
You're like, I never told you guys it was. Listen to me.
You can
Right.
say it's
Yeah.
the arcane version of romantasy because it's like, there's vibes sometimes, but like at the same
Yeah.
time, it's very gritty.
And I do. Sometimes I pitch it as that. That was one of my comp titles. And then they were like, that's not a book. And I was like, you're right, but the vibes are there.
Oh, I'm so
That's all
over
we need.
people like not letting us pitch movies and stuff because it's like we consume it the most. There's so many like you can like
Right.
watch a movie in an hour and have a comp title, Like we have to release
Exactly.
ourselves. I literally use movies and shows all the time for comp titles.
Mm. Me too. Me too. And I know publishing is like, mm-mm. But I'm gonna
No.
keep
Right.
doing it.
They're like, we need facts. We need to know which books to comp to for sales and blah, blah, blah. We're like,
Yeah.
no, it's Arcane. Leave us alone.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
get it. Yeah, I love it. You mentioned that you did a lot of research. Like, was that like one of your favorite parts about like the whole process? Because that's, I always, every time I think of something, I do a deep dive into whatever it is. Like, how was that
Yeah.
process of researching?
Mm.
Yeah, it was great. As I said, I'm a nerd, so like getting to do that and knowing that it was like necessary and it's not just me stalling was really great. Like I would go down rabbit holes for the littlest things, like what jewelry were people wearing back then? What was it made of? Like where did it come from? Even though that's literally not relevant to the plot at all. And then like the bigger things, like the political landscape at the time and like international happenings. And honestly, I just like read a lot of books, not just that took place during the 1920s in New York, but were written back then as well. Loved listening to the music because that really got me into the headspace and like the atmosphere, and then reading more like kind of first person accounts. So it was a lot of fun for me. But I'd also like taken a class on the Harlem Renaissance. So I feel like I already had like a good like foundational knowledge of it. And it was really cool to get to like dive back into that just for this book.
Yes,
Mm.
I'm here for it. I love it. What was have would you say has been like the hardest part of your journey so far?
Mm.
Oh my God. If you see any of my like unhinged tweets or stories where I'm like, guys, I should just retire and give up. Because it's like every other day. I feel like, especially being like a person of color and like a queer person of color in publishing is hard because like I don't know, it's like it's hard not to like compare myself, which this has nothing to do with like the writing, but just like putting yourself out there because obviously, publisher expects you to like market your book. And so putting yourself out there sometimes, like getting comments where it's like,
Hmm.
I don't like sapphic or queer stuff. I'm like, well, then this isn't for you. Like, just
Yeah,
leave. And
literally.
yeah, also just like seeing like the boom of like romantasy and types of books that just don't include people who look like me. It's like, so then why am I here? But it is also cool and like rewarding to meet readers who are like, I've been looking for a book like this forever. Like, thank you for writing it. And then knowing that I'm helping to like convince publishers and editors that these stories do matter and they can sell if you give us a chance. Like, that's been really great. But it's also like really hard to get to that point because there are so many days where I'm like, I should just not write about sapphics then because people don't care. But then I'm like, no, I care. Like, let me do it for little me if I do it for anyone.
Mm. We care, we need it, and just keep writing it because I like honestly, I was listening to you pitch that and I was like, this sounds like the next freaking whatever Discovery of Witches or something like really major that we need movies of, we need series, give it to us all.
Thank you. Fingers
Yes.
crossed.
Yeah, right. Listen, publishing.
Yeah.
You mentioned, like finding readers that, like feel seen in your books. Would you say that's the most rewarding, or what has been like a special moment for you that like just makes your heart swell with joy?
No, 100% it's the readers. Like anytime I feel down about myself, I just think back to all the times that I've not only like gotten really special messages and been tagged in really nice posts, but been able to meet them in person at festivals and stuff. Like that's been amazing. Like that's truly why I do this. Because I'm like, I could give up and not write what I want to write. That would be very hard for me, but I could do it. But no, like the readers definitely like the best part about it. And then also like being able to look back and like know that this has been a dream that I've been chasing for so long. And the fact that I'm like standing in it, sometimes it doesn't feel real. And I'm like, maybe I should like soak this in a little bit because it is like an accomplishment, but it's also like just personal for me, something I've always wanted to do. So those two things, like the best parts of this by far.
Hmm. I try to think about that a lot lately. Probably going to ruin the quote now, but it really sticks with me. The like that quote of like, don't forget, like the you of a few years ago used to dream of being where she is now. And I try really hard to remember that because it's so easy to get caught up in like, shit, what have I got
Mhm.
to do next? Now I've got to do this. Now I've got to do this. And I really try to ground myself in that and be like, oh my gosh, like literally the things I'm doing right now were a pipe dream at one point. I never imagined I could do them. And yeah, so it's like such a great grounding and just like validating thing to yourself because we often so hard on ourselves and
Mhm.
just berating ourselves to produce the next thing. But yeah, like look at all you've done. It's wild, you know?
Yeah, always try to remind myself of that. And other people as well, like who aren't in publishing, when they're like, I feel so behind. I'm like, first of all, you're on your own timeline. Also, think about you 10 years ago. Like, they'd be so proud of where you are now.
Yeah, hell yeah. Well, I think this is a perfect like segue into one of our favorite questions, which is looking back at all you've accomplished, what would you tell or what advice would you give a younger version of yourself before you even started this journey?
I would tell younger me that everything is going to be okay and to keep going, and that you should stop writing about straight white people because that's not you. People will like the stories that come from your heart.
That's it. Amen. 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 And people truly will. Like I saw you at Y'all West, and I saw how many people were so excited to get to meet you and get their books signed, their arcs. And honestly, like I'm glad you took that advice, eventually, and here you are, and you're doing the thing. So please don't ever stop. I know you want to sometimes, and your brain's like it'd
Yeah.
be so much easier, and maybe it would, but you're doing the damn thing, and there's gonna be so many younger versions of you that are watching you right now. You know what I mean? That are just gonna be just so inspired by you. So you're doing the work. So good job.
Thank
Yes.
you. And I
Yeah.
feel so lucky to like be here with you guys because you guys are so iconic. And it was so great to meet you at Y'all West, and I'm excited for our future event.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for agreeing. Yeah. Haley and she's going to be my in conversation party. She's just going to be my
It's
party,
gonna be a
my
party.
partner.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to
That's
be a
so cool.
party. Yeah. So I'm super pumped about that. So thank you for agreeing to do that. Um, can we talk a little bit before the time is up about book two? Like, do we know anything about it? Can we hear anything about it without any spoilers?
I mean, I can try.
Okay.
The title has not been released yet. I think we're gonna announce that soon. And yeah, all I can say is it's even bloodier and there's even more yearning, betrayals, lots of crazy stuff going on, and returning characters that maybe didn't have as much of a spotlight in book one that'll have a bigger role in book two that I loved writing. And I hope that everyone likes it because I've worked so hard.
I feel like you are ready now for your rest era. What are you going to do to treat yourself and recover now from all of this?
First, I'm gonna sleep. I haven't gotten a lot of sleep recently.
Mm.
And I'd probably dive into a couple shows that I've been meaning to watch because I banned myself from watching TV shows and like new movies. So I really want to watch Long Legs. I've been waiting to watch that movie forever. And then there's like a bunch of stuff that I want to watch, like The Owl House. But yeah, mostly that. I need to like relax for a second. Like I want to work on a new project, but I'm also like, all right, let's calm down.
Yeah, give yourself a few hours. Give yourself a few days.
Yes.
I'm going to say solid week. I always recommend a
Yeah.
solid week. Just like stay in your pajamas. Don't do anything. Don't see friends. Just be like in your cave. Shower occasionally.
That's good advice, I think. Yeah, shower
Right.
occasionally. It's fine. We just saw Long Legs, and it is it's something. It's something. It's worth a watch. But like, yeah, it's Nicolas Cage. Like, what are you gonna say? Like,
Nicolas
he can't do any wrong. Yeah. So let me know what your thoughts are after you watch it. Yeah.
I will.
Okay, good.
When's your event together? Let's let our listeners have a chance to catch you both together because that sounds iconic.
Yeah, it's a party. It's going to be, I believe, December 18th. In Linden Tree Bookstore in Los Altos, California. So yeah, party.
So exciting. Well, honestly, it was such an honor to have you on today. And like, especially knowing you've just handed your edits in, that's like, thank you for making the time to like come and chat with us after that. Like, I feel honored. I think I would be like, bye, motherfuckers. And I would just be like out at like a pizza restaurant, just eating I don't know. But I feel very honored that you came on to chat with us after that.
Yeah, no, I feel honored to be here. Like, I was so excited to get the invitation. Like, I love this show and you guys are amazing. So I had the best time. And again, thank you for having me.
No, thank you. It's going to cut us off at any second. So thank you again for joining us. Go get your rest. Get some sleep. Enjoy your long legs.
Yes,
You
pizza,
too. Thank you,
pajamas,
guys.
movie. That's
Yeah.
that's what the doctor ordered.
Perfect night. Perfect.